Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Anita Anand with the Midday News. The headlines. Supercyclonic storm Amphan causes havoc in many parts of West Bengal and Odisha. National Crisis Management Committee reviews rescue and relief operations. Government directs central agencies to remain in touch with Odisha and West Bengal governments and provide all necessary assistance expeditiously. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 40.31, more than 45,000 people cured so far. Booking of tickets for 200 trains scheduled from 1st June begins, and Civil Aviation Ministry issues guidelines for domestic flights resumption. Passengers with confirmed web check-in can enter airport. In West Bengal, the task force set up by the state government on Amphan management will meet this afternoon to ascertain the extent of damages caused by the cyclonic storm. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee will preside over the meeting at the State Secretariat in Kolkata. The supercyclonic storm has caused havoc in North and South 24 Parganas, Howrah, Hooghly, Nadia, East and West Midnapur districts, including Kolkata. According to sources, 17 people have died in rain-related incidents at various parts of the state so far. West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar termed the devastation as furious in the recent past centuries. More from our Kolkata correspondent.
The devastation caused by the supercyclonic storm Amphan is unprecedented in the history of the state. Most of the river embankments in different districts, including vast areas of Sundarbans, have been breached. Huge number of houses, standing crops were damaged. Innumerable trees were uprooted. Telephones, internet and electricity connections have also been snapped in vast areas. As trees, electrical pillars were uprooted on the roads, vehicular traffic movements were also disrupted in Kolkata. Water supply has also been affected. Different agencies, including Ndrf, SDRF, civic bodies, fire brigade, have started relief and restoration work on war footing. Arijit Chakraborty, AIR News, Kolkata.
The severe cyclonic storm Amphan has caused extensive damage to the 4 coastal districts of Odisha, Bhadrak, Baleswar, Kendrapada and Jagatsinghpur. The state government has asked the collectors of the 4 districts to submit a report within 48 hours regarding the damages caused by Amphan. A report.
The cyclonic storm Amphan caused widespread damage to the 4 districts Bhadrak, Baleshwar, Kendrapada and Jagatsinghpur of coastal Odisha. Some parts of coastal Odisha experienced heavy to heavy rainfall with a speedy wind. Several trees were uprooted, roofs of kacha houses blown away and power infrastructure suffered damage in these 4 districts as maximum wind speed crossed 100 km per hour in some places. Standing paddy crops also suffered extensive damage in these areas. The state government has asked to submit a report on the damages caused by the cyclone to the district collectors. A total of 36 teams of Ndrf and Ndrf have been engaged along with 100 teams of OFDC. Rescue and relief operations and repair works have been undertaken on a war footing basis. Iti Shri Singh Rathore, AIR News, Cuttack.
Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba today reviewed the situation in the Amphan cyclone-affected areas of Odisha and West Bengal in the meeting of the National Crisis Management Committee. Chief Secretaries of Odisha and West Bengal informed that timely and accurate forecast by Indian Meteorological Department and advanced deployment of National Disaster Response Force facilitated an evacuation of about 5 lakh people in West Bengal and about 2 lakh in Odisha. West Bengal informed that there were major damages to agriculture, power and telecommunication facilities in cyclone-affected areas. Odisha informed that damages have been mainly limited to agriculture. Cabinet Secretary directed the central agencies to remain in touch with the state governments of Odisha and West Bengal and provide all required assistance expeditiously. Ministry of Home Affairs will send teams to carry out early assessment of damages. NDRF is moving additional teams in West Bengal to speed up restoration work, especially in Kolkata. Food Corporation of India will ensure adequate availability of food grains. Power Ministry and Department of Telecommunications will assist in early restoration of services in both the states. The Railways is in the process of restarting its operations at the earliest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said no stone will be left unturned in helping the cyclone Amphan affected people. In a series of tweets, Mr. Modi said the Ndrf teams are working in the cyclone affected parts and top officials are closely monitoring the situation and also working in close coordination with the West Bengal government. The Prime Minister said he has been seeing visuals from West Bengal on the devastation caused by the cyclone, and in this challenging hour the entire nation stands in solidarity with the state. Mr. Modi said he is praying for the well-being of the people of the state. He added that efforts are on to ensure normalcy. The Prime Minister also said his thoughts are with the people of Odisha as the state bravely battles the effects of Cyclone Amphan. Authorities are working on the ground to ensure all possible assistance to those affected. Mr. Modi said he prays that the situation normalizes at the earliest.
Speaking exclusively to AIR News, Director General of Meteorology, Indian Met Department, Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra shared updates on Amphan cyclone.
तो साइक्लोन अम्फन जो कल वेस्ट बंगाल और बांग्लादेश कोस्ट को सुंदरबन के ऊपर तट को पार किया था, वो धीरे धीरे वीक हो रहा है और आज सुबह यह वीक होकर एक साइक्लोन स्टॉर्म रूप में बांग्लादेश में केंद्रीभूत था और आज अभी दोपहर को फर्दर वीक होकर एक डीप डिप्रेशन में परिणत हो गया है बांग्लादेश के ऊपर। जो हमारा वेस्ट असम और मेघालय का इलाका है, वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग रेनफॉल एट मोस्ट प्लेसेस, हेवी टू वेरी हेवी फॉल एट ए फ्यू प्लेसेस एंड एक्सट्रीमली हेवी रेनफॉल यानी 20 सेंटीमीटर से ज्यादा रेनफॉल एट आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस वेस्टर्न असम और वेस्टर्न मेघालय इलाका में आज ये उम्मीद है। इसके साथ साथ फॉर नेक्स्ट 6 आवर्स वेस्टर्न असम और वेस्टर्न मेघालय एरिया में विंड स्पीड 50 to 60 किलोमीटर पर आवर, गस्टिंग टू 70 किलोमीटर पर आवर हो सकता है।
In Jharkhand, the effect of super cyclone Amphan was witnessed in several districts of Sahibganj, Tumka, Pakur, Chatra, Godda, Saraikela, Kharsawa, adjoining to West Bengal borders and some parts of East Singhbum and West Singhbum districts in the state. Continuous rainfall with squall and heavy storms lashed most of the affected districts of the state. Old and dilapidated buildings and structures have collapsed due to the intermittent rains and strong winds, while few people in Sahibganj and Sarai Kharsawa have been injured. Waterlogging on the roads in many places can be seen in several districts, while the cyclone has also affected the power supply in these districts. Most of the severely affected districts were alerted by district administration continuously to keep alert and remain indoors to be safe from the cyclonic weather changes. There has been no casualty reported from Jharkhand so far. However, the sky has been cloudy since yesterday across the state and moisture-laden, fast-moving winds can be felt. People in unaffected districts and far off from coastal areas have got relief from heat wave due to the change in weather. The temperature has also dropped significantly. Meanwhile, Director of Indian Met Department, Ranchi, said that the weather shall return to normalcy in Jharkhand after May 22.
With Cyclone Amphan moving further inland, the maritime ports of Mongla, Pyara, Chattogram and Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh have been advised to lower the danger signal from Great Danger 10 and 9 to local cautionary signal 3. The latest special weather bulletin issued by the Met Department of Bangladesh said the cyclone now lies over Rajshahi Pabna region. It is likely to move further in north-northeasterly direction and weaken gradually. The bulletin warned that coastal areas of Satkhira, Khulna, Bagirhat, Borguna, Patuakhali, Bhola and Barisal, among others, will experience wind speed of 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. The cyclone crossed the coastal areas of Bangladesh by midnight on Wednesday, bringing in its wake heavy rains, storm surges and flooding. As high-speed wind and rain lashed these areas, low-lying places were inundated, embankments collapsed, trees were uprooted and kacha houses were damaged. 7 people are reported to be killed by the cyclone in Barguna, Satkhira, Pirojpur, Bhola and Patuakhali districts of Bangladesh. Many rivers in the country were flowing above the danger mark due to water surge caused by the cyclone. The Meghna, Bhola, Baleshwar, Bish Khali and Poira rivers were flowing above the danger mark at several points in Botua Khali, Barguna and Bagirhat. Electricity supply was disrupted in most of the southwestern region of Bangladesh. Most of the areas of Borishal and Khulna division have no electricity supply since yesterday noon. The relief and rescue operations continued in the cyclone-affected areas. In certain areas where river embankments have been breached, local administration and people have started working to repair the breach. Earlier, the government had undertaken a massive exercise of evacuating 24 lakh people from the cyclone-affected districts. 5 lakh domestic animals were also rescued. The government had increased the number of cyclone shelters to more than 14,000 to accommodate the people affected by the cyclone. Air Force, Navy and other government agencies have started working to rescue people and provide relief to the affected persons.
The booking of tickets for 200 trains, which will run from 1st of June, commenced from 10 a.m. today. Railways said that these trains will be fully reserved trains having both AC and non-AC classes. General coaches should also have reserved seats for sitting. There will be no unreserved coach in the trains. Only 4 categories of the Vyangjan concession and 11 categories of patient concessions are permitted in these special trains. Railway Ministry said these special services will be in addition to the existing Shramik special trains and special AC trains. Participating in AIR program, Executive Director of the Railway Board, Rajesh Dutt Bajpai, said that these trains are being disinfected before running and also during the travel.
जो ट्रेन हम चलाते हैं उसकी यात्रा शुरू करने से पहले पूरी तरह उसको डिसइंफेक्ट करते हैं। सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स जो हैं, जो केमिकल्स यूज करते हैं, वो इस तरह के केमिकल्स होते हैं कि इस तरह के वायरस को हम मार सकें। सभी ट्रेनों को, सभी टॉयलेट्स को, सीट्स को, जो हमारे दरवाजे होते हैं उनको, डोर्स को, विंडोज को बाहर से अंदर से अच्छी तरह साफ किया जाता है। यात्रा के दौरान जो हमारे बड़े स्टॉपेजेस हैं जहाँ पे क्लीनिंग की फैसिलिटीज हैं, उन सभी स्टेशनों पे टॉयलेट्स की सफाई, डोर्स की सफाई हम कोशिश करते हैं कि पूरी तरह हम कर सकें। मैं एक ही अपील करना चाहूंगा पैसेंजर से कि अपना ध्यान खुद रखें, अपना मास्क लगाएं, पूरी तरह ढकें, बगल वाले यात्रियों से बहुत ज्यादा संपर्क न करें।
Mr. Bajpai also said that special trains will cover all the important stations.
और ये ट्रेनें हमारी नॉन एसी रहेंगी, मुख्यतः एसी भी कुछ हो सकता है इसमें, और ये सभी राज्यों के मेजर जितने स्टेशन हैं सभी स्टेशनों को कनेक्ट करेगी और ये उसी तरह की ट्रेनें होंगी जैसे कि नॉर्मल ट्रेन चलती हैं, बट इनको हमने स्पेशल ट्रेन नाम दिया है।
The Railway Ministry has said that other regular passenger services, including all mail and express passenger and suburban services, shall remain cancelled until further advice. The fare in these trains will be normal, and for general coaches, second seating fare shall be charged and seats will be provided to all the passengers. No catering charges will be included in the fare. Provision for prepaid meal booking and e-catering shall be disabled. Our correspondent reports that all stalls at stations, including food plazas, will be opened, but only takeaway food will be given.
For these trains, only online e-ticketing can be done through IRCTC website or through mobile app. The advanced reservation period will be a maximum of 30 days. RAC and waitlist will be generated. No Tatkal and Premium Tatkal booking shall be permitted in these trains. Only passengers with confirmed tickets will be allowed to enter the railway station. All passengers must wear face covers or masks upon entry and during travel. The passengers will have to reach the station at least 90 minutes in advance to facilitate thermal screening at the station. Only passengers who are found asymptomatic will be permitted to travel. On arrival at their destination, the passengers will have to adhere to the health protocols prescribed by the destination state and union territories. All passengers have to download and use the Arogya Setu app. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Railways Minister Piyush Goyal said that Railways is taking strict action against agents who use software to book tickets. In a series of tweets today, he said, if an agent approaches a passenger and offers to book tickets, the passenger is requested to complain against the agent using 138 complaint number. The minister said Railways announced the operation of 200 trains from 1st of June, of which booking started at 10 a.m. today. He said on 1st of May, 4 trains were run in which about 5,000 migrant workers went to their homes. He added yesterday 279 trains were run in which 5 lakh migrant labourers, students and trapped tourists were also sent to their homes. Mr. Goyal thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for showing a new direction to fight COVID-19 epidemic. He said the idea of turning railway coaches into isolation coaches was given by the Prime Minister, and after discussing this idea with Railways and Health Ministry, 5,000 coaches have been turned into isolation coaches. Earlier, in a video interaction with BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra, the minister said the booking of train tickets will resume around 1.7 lakh common service centres by tomorrow across the country. He said bookings will also resume at counters of different stations in the next 2 to 3 days, and the Railways is developing a protocol in this regard. Mr. Goyal said the Railways is going to announce the resumption of more trains in the upcoming days. He informed that in the last 2.5 hours, over 4 lakh tickets have been booked for second-class passenger trains, which will start from the 1st of next month.
Civil Aviation Ministry has issued guidelines for airlines, airports, passengers and other stakeholders on domestic flights resumption. Only passengers with confirmed web check-in can enter the airport. There will be no physical check-in at airport counters. Only one check-in bag will be allowed. Airlines will not provide meal services in flights. Airlines will have to adhere to lower and upper limit of fares prescribed by the government during the COVID-19 pandemic period. Civil Aviation Ministry said airlines to inform passengers the reporting time at the airport is at least 2 hours before the scheduled time for the flight's departure. Boarding for flight will commence 60 minutes before departure, and boarding gate will be closed 20 minutes before departure. Passengers will have to wear protective gear like masks.
You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Super cyclonic storm Umpun causes havoc in many parts of West Bengal and Odisha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says no stone will be left unturned to help cyclone Umpun affected people. Government directs central agencies to remain in touch with Odisha and West Bengal governments and provide all necessary assistance expeditiously. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 40.31. More than 45,000 people cured so far. Booking of tickets for 200 trains scheduled from the 1st of June begins. And Civil Aviation Ministry issues guidelines for domestic flights resumption. Passengers with confirmed web check-in can enter airports. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
India has reached a landmark in its fight against COVID-19 by performing 1 lakh tests per day. Starting from less than 100 tests per day, a multiple-fold increase in just 2 months was made possible by dedicated teams of various stakeholders, including research institutions, medical colleges, testing laboratories, ministries, airlines and postal services. It is a remarkable journey of India becoming self-reliant in its testing capabilities. More from our correspondent.
In January 2020, India had only one testing laboratory for COVID-19 at the Indian Council of Medical Research, National Institute of Virology, Pune. Today, there are 569 laboratories, including government and private laboratories chain across India for testing sample of coronavirus. India faced with an unprecedented challenge both in terms of technicalities and scale in the initial period of coronavirus outbreak in the country. To overcome this challenge, the government associated with domestic industry to achieve self-sufficiency in testing capabilities. ICMR has approved 14 validation centers to review the request for approving any new laboratories for COVID testing and to expedite RT-PCR kits produced by the industry. A total 71 RT-PCR kits of the various companies have been evaluated so far. In order to ensure that the supplies reached every laboratory in a timely manner amid the nationwide lockdown, the services of the Ministry of Civil Aviation under Mission Lifeline Udan were availed. In the last 2 months, 40 tons of testing material have been transported in more than 150 flight operations. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
The Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has said that a total of 1,03,532 samples of coronavirus were tested in the last 24 hours. The figure of the total number of tests has reached 26,15,920 in the country. Meanwhile, ICMR is continuously scaling up its testing facilities for COVID-19 by giving approval to government and private laboratories. As of now, total 567 laboratories across India have been given approval to conduct the test for COVID-19, including 396 government laboratories and 173 private laboratory chains. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar will talk to all community radios of the country simultaneously tomorrow. The program will take place at 7 p.m. It is aimed at connecting with people in the remote corners of the country.
India has reached a landmark to fight in its fight against COVID-19 by performing 1 lakh tests per day. Health and Family Welfare Ministry said that a total of 45,300 affected people with novel coronavirus have been cured and the recovery rate reached 40.31% in the country. During the last 24 hours, 3,002 affected people have recovered and 5,609 people have been reported positive. With this, the total number of affected people has reached 1,12,359. A total of 132 deaths have been registered in the last 24 hours, taking the nationwide toll to 3,435. Government is undertaking largest ever evacuation of stranded Indian nationals from countries across the world to India under the Vande Bharat mission. The second phase of Vande Bharat mission began from the 16th of this month and is coming to an end today. 18 additional countries were covered under the second phase, including Indonesia, Thailand, Australia, Italy, France, Germany, Ireland, Canada, Japan, Nigeria, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Kyrgyzstan, Belarus, Georgia, Tajikistan and Armenia. Our correspondent reports that the ambit is being broadened every week in a phased manner and the government is now looking to bring back most stranded nationals from Europe.
As part of the Vande Bharat mission, 2 special Air India flights have been scheduled from Germany to India on the 28th and 29th of this month to Delhi and Bengaluru. The Embassy of India, Berlin, has received a large number of registrations from Indian nationals stranded in Germany to return to India. Passengers will have to bear the cost of travel by these flights as well as for the mandatory quarantine facilities on arrival to India. Besides, Air India will operate a special evacuation flight from Stockholm on 6th of June to New Delhi and Mumbai. Air India will operate a special evacuation flight from Amsterdam on 8th June to New Delhi. It is also operating special flights to Delhi and Ahmedabad from Paris on 26th May and from Paris to Bangalore and Kochi on 27th May. Meanwhile, repatriation of 2,288 Indians stranded in the UK have been done through 8 Air India flights till 17th May. Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Under Vande Bharat mission, 3 flights will be arriving in Kerala today, carrying over 500 expatriates from the Gulf region. A report.
We beg your pardon, we don't have that report right now. In Madhya Pradesh, the General Administration Department has issued instructions that now all private and government offices located even in the red zone can work with the presence of 50% employees and 100% officers. At the same time, the MP Board of Secondary Education has also released the examination program for the remaining subjects of higher secondary. A report. We beg your pardon, we don't have that report. In Rajasthan, 83 people were tested positive for COVID-19 in the state today, taking the total number of affected people to 6,098. 3,421 patients have recovered so far. The number of people under treatment is 2,527. While today, 28 people were reported positive from Dungarpur, 10 from Udaipur and 8 in Jaipur. 150 people have died due to corona infection so far in the state. Our correspondent reports that the number of infected persons has increased after the movement of migrants.
In a major relief to the silver screen and small screen industry in Tamil Nadu, film shooting has been permitted with certain restrictions. The move comes after the representatives of the industries giving representations to the government to reopen their shooting activities. More from our correspondent.
Initially, the Tamil Nadu government permitted the pending post-production works of several films and television serials from May 11. After the government partially opened up the economic and industrial activities since last Monday, demands were made by the cinema and teleserial industry also to permit shooting. Paying heed to their demands, indoor shooting has been allowed now outside the containment areas. Shooting in open space is allowed only in rural areas that are free from the pandemic, and visitors are barred from the shooting spot. Shooting is permitted in houses only if they have compound walls. Disinfection, hand sanitation and other safety protocols have been mandated during the activities. Jai Singh, AAR News, Chennai.
In Nepal, 17 new cases of COVID-19 were reported today, taking the national tally to 444. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, 15 people from Jharkhand district and one each from Dhankuta and Sunsari districts were diagnosed with COVID-19 today. New patients are from 18 to 51 years of age and their condition is normal. There are 397 active cases in Nepal, while 45 patients have recovered. 2 persons have lost their lives due to coronavirus so far. Currently, 23,202 people are under quarantine and 380 persons kept in isolation across the country.
In our series, Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. A.K. Varshney, Senior Physician, RML Hospital, spoke about comorbidity.
कोमोर्बिडिटी का मतलब है कि उनको पहले से ही काफी गंभीर बीमारियां हैं, या जो बड़े बुजुर्ग हैं 70 साल के 80 साल के जिनकी इम्यूनिटी बहुत कम होती है, या जो मान लीजिए प्रेग्नेंट मदर्स हैं, उनकी भी उस स्टेज में, हालांकि वो स्वस्थ प्रेगनेंसी में इम्यूनिटी कम होती है, तो ऐसे लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा सावधानी रखने की जरूरत है. जो मृत्यु दर है वो इन लोगों में बहुत ज्यादा है.
The Maharashtra government has deposited 153 crore 40 lakh financial assistance in the accounts of 7 lakh 67,000 construction workers. Maharashtra Labour Minister Dilip Walse Patil has informed that during the outbreak of COVID-19 virus, the state government had decided to deposit 2,000 rupees to every registered construction worker's bank account. Meanwhile, the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation has directed civic officials to acquire at least 100 beds, including 10 in ICUs of private nursing homes and small hospitals in all 24 wards of Mumbai. More in this report. In Gujarat, the Surat city has recently bagged the 5 stars rating in garbage-free city survey. Surat city generates 1,800 metric tons of garbage every day. Our correspondent reports that the Surat Municipal Corporation has adopted various innovative methods for garbage management.
In Surat, 100% garbage is collected from door to door and different types of garbage is segregated and then processed in different ways. The City Municipal Corporation is also earning revenue worth rupees 140 crore by treating sewage water, which is then provided for industrial purposes. Talking exclusively to AIR, Surat Municipal Corporation Commissioner Banchhanidhi Pani said the SMC has set up a beautiful garden on the sanitary landfill, which has become a major attraction for the visitors.
सूरत सिर्फ इंडिया में नहीं बट विश्व में अगर देखा जाए तो ऐसा एक शहर है जो अपने सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट करके उससे रेवेन्यू जनरेट करता है. सूरत शहर में हमने एक जो सैनिटरी लैंडफिल साइट बनाया है वो इतना ग्रीन है कि वहाँ जो है लोग वॉलीबॉल खेल सकते हैं, लोग वॉकिंग कर सकते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारे एक्टिविटीज हो रहा है.
Efficient garbage management system in Surat can be a role model for other cities in the country. With Lopa Darbar from Surat, this is Aparna Khund for AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Now let us take a look at the weather. Today in the national capital, minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius, while maximum is expected to be 41 degrees Celsius. Metropolis is likely to witness strong surface winds during the daytime. Mumbai will witness partly cloudy sky with minimum temperature of 28 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature remaining around 31 degrees Celsius. In the north, Jammu will witness a minimum temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, maximum 38 degrees Celsius. Srinagar, minimum temperature 11 degrees, maximum 27 degrees. In Gilgit, temperature will hover between 13 and 29 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad, the sky will be mainly clear. And before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Super cyclonic storm Amphan causes havoc in many parts of West Bengal and Odisha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says no stone will be left unturned to help cyclone Amphan affected people. Government directs central agencies to remain in touch with Odisha and West Bengal governments and provide all necessary assistance expeditiously. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 40.31, more than 45,000 people cured so far. Booking of tickets for 200 trains scheduled from 1st June begins, and Civil Aviation Ministry issues guidelines for domestic flights resumption. Passengers with confirmed web check-in can enter the airport. With that, we end the midday news.